Android can run pretty much on anything these days. How about adding it to a dash cam? That almost seems like a dream come true, right? Having all the benefits of the Google ecosystem, such as maps and search, while at the same time being a dash cam and recording while I'm driving. How about adding in wireless Android Auto and CarPlay into the mix? A simple one-stop solution for any vehicle, but is it offering too much? Hey, it's V. Let's get started. Unfortunately, as of right now, I've had to slow down my release schedule. I got into a car accident. I'm still kind of recovering. Nothing major, but soft tissue damage. I initially did the script for this video back in November, but as of right now, I'm getting around to it in January for the audio. This video will be released sometime in February. I know for the last few months, video releases have been very slow. I'm trying to fix that. Someone ran a red light and clipped the back of my car. I'm still doing physical therapy. At this point, I feel as if I should get a dash cam. Me being me, I've been eyeballing this for a while now, and it's really worth checking out. This is the CarlinKit dash cam with wireless CarPlay / Android Auto. This can be picked up off Amazon for around $180. I've been using their other products for a while, and they've been good so far. This dash cam, there are two different flavors. The European version that runs Android 12, and the US version that runs Android 9. Plus, the European version has the Snapdragon 6125, and the US version has the 450 chipset. Basically, this dash cam has the guts of a mid-range phone from 2020. That really sounds good on paper, but execution is different. I decided to pick up the European version. The Snapdragon 6125 is about 10% faster than the 450. The dash cam also has 4GB of RAM, 64GB of storage, micro SD support up to 128 gigs of expandable storage, a 2-megapixel HD camera, which can record 1080p at 30 frames, a f1.6 aperture, and 140 degrees field of view. It supports a nano SIM for 4G support. All this translates to a very mid-range phone from 2020 turned into a 2-megapixel dash cam. But how does this perform in 2024? Inside the box, you get the instructions, how you hook everything up, the dash cam itself, a 20-foot USB Type-A to Type-C charging cable, a orange plastic crowbar. Basically, it helps with cable management. The first thing is to pick a spot where you want the dash cam to be on the windshield, plug it into the vehicle, and use the camera to find the sweet spot. The lens can tilt up and down to help assist. The dash cam takes about 30 to 45 seconds to boot up. It does not record any footage without a memory card. Even with the internal storage, you cannot record that. Any SD microcard will work up to 128 gigabytes. I do recommend a V30 card because the bitrate is a bit faster for video. They're not super expensive, about $20. No one really needs a V90 card. Those can run up to about $200. It also has a slot for a SIM card for voice, text, and data. If you don't want to tether a phone to this, it can be its own standalone unit. It has a 148-degree field of view, so it can go pretty wide. With everything plugged in, with the orange crowbar or my finger, I can hide the cables between the trim and the windshield, so I won't have a massive cable hanging down, so the whole setup just looks cleaner. Seriously, cable management is life. Just after messing around with the dash cam for a bit, the adhesive pad just kind of sucks. It keeps on falling off. I need to fix that. Also, very false advertising. I've ran different hardware tests showing the benchmarks of this device. The hardware aspect is all over the board. The box claims it's a Snapdragon 450. I ordered the model with the 6125. Some of the results are it's either a Snapdragon 215, the 665, or it's unavailable. Each test is different. That adhesive glue sucks. The only thing that's similar to each other is the Adreno 610 graphics chip. Double-sided tape is life. Even doing the same benchmark test the very next day, it's the same. Doing a deeper dive, this device only really has 3.5 gigabytes of RAM. It only has 46 gigabytes of storage instead of 64. I really don't think Android is 18 gigs by itself. The only Snapdragon chip that uses the Adreno 610 is the 665 chip. Android being Android, you really need as much horsepower as possible, and especially RAM, because Android can really be a resource hog. On top of of that, having a dashcam record 24/7, sprinkle in CarPlay, this dashcam should have a minimum of 8 to 12 gigabytes of RAM. So any dashcam footage will only work with a memory card, the internal storage will not work. It will only support up to 128 gigabytes of expandable storage. If I record a 5-minute footage for 1080p, that clip alone is about 600 megabytes. I do drive a lot. That memory card will be full within a couple days. I believe it re-records over older footage. Once everything is booted up, the dashcam will start recording. There's a red dot that will show it's recording. While recording, you can take a still shot with the 2-megapixel sensor. Video is saved in 3 locations, from loop, capture, and emergency. I'm not sure why there's 3 locations, but there are. Diving into the settings, the resolution can be changed from 720 to 1080p. You can also add a timestamp. You can change the recording durations between 1, 3, and 5 minutes. I recommend just doing 3 minutes. You can switch between 25 and 30 frames per second. You can also adjust collision sensitivity. After using this for a week, these are the issues I ran into. The dashcam only works when it wants to, not today, maybe tomorrow. The dashcam can get very laggy. Some days are fine, and other days it will not recognize the memory card. If I got into another auto accident, this did not record. It really defeats the purpose of this. For a typical day of driving, just watch the windshield wipers. After recording for a couple days, about 30% of all my video files are corrupt. I can't even open them. So even trying this with a different memory card, it was the same. As a standalone dashcam, this is very unreliable, and I would not trust this with my life. This being a dashcam, it fails pretty hard. Plus, on top of that, the 2-megapixel HD camera sensor. I have about 5 minutes of footage at the end of this video if anybody wants to watch it. On average, it takes about 30 to 45 seconds to boot everything up. This is the normal 100% boot up speed. There is an option to boot any app from startup. That does add a couple extra seconds to everything. The other CarPlay adapter I have is called the 2Air. That takes about 10 to 15 seconds to boot everything up, which is my daily driver. I've been using that for about 6 months. That only does wireless CarPlay. It doesn't have Android built in. And hands down is one of my personal favorite devices. With everything booted up, a swipe down reveals the notifications, the shortcuts for Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, airplane mode, and location services. There is a floating button which can be moved around. It's primarily used for navigation. If you click it, it reveals other options. The first one takes you back to the home screen. The second one returns you back to the last page. The third one is multitasking for closing apps individually or everything together. If CarPlay is enabled and everything is closed, CarPlay will be disconnected. The fourth one is Google Search. The fifth one is multi-window support. Several different apps can be open at the same time. It will work, but there are major issues with scaling. Personally, I would avoid this one. It doesn't play nice with this hardware. 6 is RAM boost. It tries to find extra RAM for multitasking. And then the last one will take you back to the home screen. Inside the settings, if you drop the video definition from 10 to 3, it will speed up the user interface a little bit. Won't be as detailed or sharp. The initial startup widget can be changed to whatever. Depending on the application, like a game, it can increase the boot up time by a few seconds. There are 2 different launchers. This is the standard one by default. The other launcher is just bad. It's just a music widget and nothing else. Any application can boot up from startup, from CarPlay, Google Search, Maps, the Dashcam app, Fruit Ninja, Netflix. Sometimes they will work, sometimes they don't, and sometimes because the application is trying to load over Android, the whole system will crash. These are the main settings you can customize with the Dashcam. The main Android widget is on the left-hand side, which can be customizable with any app. The right side has the 4 recent apps last opened. The left side has your 3 favorite apps. The top right corner corner is the music widget. The bottom left corner opens up the app tray. Hitting that red record button opens up the dash cam. The standard widget is Google Maps. The default built-in apps are Bluetooth phone, which only works when a phone is paired with Bluetooth with the dash cam. Google Maps. That's pretty self-explanatory. 3 is the normal Android phone app. It will only work with a SIM card. The next one is for wireless Android Auto or CarPlay. Home will take you back to the vehicle's main home screen. The next one is used for side-loading app. The next is Bluetooth music. It will only work if your phone is paired to the dash cam. It is the full working Android browser, but my vehicle's touchscreen is only 480 by 800, so it's very low resolution. Not every website will scale and play nice with the dash cam. Gallery is for photos and videos. The dash cam footage can be viewed here. YouTube Music works well, but it can be a bit slow. You have Contacts, File Manager, the Dashcam application, which is also called Load Key. You have Netflix. I no longer have an account with that. Whatever this is, I think it might be used to calibrate the GPS. You have Waze, which works like Waze, so that does work pretty good. The last one is Sensor Box for Android. I'm assuming this is primarily just for a phone, but it's here for the Dashcam. But I will say my life is now complete because I can finally turn on my vehicle's flashlight. Wireless CarPlay does take a little bit while to connect. It is a little bit slow. The CarlinKit 2 Air adapter is more ideal for just CarPlay. It's faster. The 2 Air takes about 15 seconds to boot up compared to about a minute with the dashcam. When wireless CarPlay is connected, phone calls did tend to drop from time to time. They did sound a little bit muffled. The dashcam is based off the older 3.0 technology, so there is more of a noticeable delay when playing media or watching videos. With the 2 Air, that only takes about a second. The wireless CarPlay for the dashcam does work. It's not really the best experience.
Heard weekly. He heard a train coming. Distant, but heavy on the rails, making the very earth thrum.
Still didn't.
Without Capital One Venture X business card, there is no preset.
You just bought those?
Yes, I did.
Didn't call anybody and spent over $3,800.
Anyone who can build the pyramids can build anything. We would struggle to make the pyramid.
I am walking backwards on the trail back to the camp. Try to get some news and attention so you can out-Trump Trump. And by the way, how's...
With this being Android, it does have access to the Play Store and other applications will work. Because I am using my vehicle's touchscreen, they aren't the best or precise, pretty much gaming really. Some apps will work and some won't. Temu does work, but that stupid wheel just spins and spins and spins for like 20 minutes. Then trying to verify I'm a real human took about another 20 minutes. The aspect ratio is a little bit off. The TikTok app did not want to load. The Tubi app works well. Granted, the resolution is pretty poor at 480 by 800. That is pretty much WVGA territory. Amazon worked better than Temu out of the box. Fruit Ninja on the other hand, has a lot of ghosting, it has a lot of delayed responses, and I don't recommend gaming on this thing. I will say Monopoly Go does work, but it is a little bit slow. Back in the early 2000s, I saw a dude on YouTube. He was playing Doom in a Porsche. He had another convincing video. He had a toaster. He could use it as a hotkey for gaming for Doom. Because of that, I ended up with 4 different toasters from Goodwill. I ripped them all apart one night, and none of them had a USB port. So, you know, good times. That idea always stuck with me. This dashcam has Bluetooth, so an Xbox controller will work with this. So I can technically hook up a keyboard, a mouse, using the dashcam as a medium. The Xbox GamerPass should work with this. Streaming games to my vehicle's touchscreen, after about 15 minutes, stuff would load, but occasionally it would crash. Even getting into the gaming library, it was very hit or miss. Even with a fast internet connection, I just had issue after issue issue after issue. Even trying it out on different days, it's the same thing. It would load and nothing else. A few games would load eventually, but I would never get past the title screen. GamerPass does not work well here. There are a few other Android boxes I'll be checking out to do this in a different video. At the end of the day, is this Android dashcam really worth the price? Honestly, no. The price point is not that expensive. It's quite comparable to other dashcams. When people look for dashcams, they're looking for instant on, the front cam and the back cam, nighttime mode, more storage, other features. This dashcam is basically an underpowered cell phone with a very low res dashcam. I really wanted to like this product. I did. A lot of corners were cut in order to keep the price down. It really shows here. The main issue is 4 gigabytes of RAM versus 8 because you have Android, wireless CarPlay, or Android Auto. You have the dash cam going 24/7, and really 4 gigabytes of RAM is not a lot. The Snapdragon 665 is just too old for this when a good chunk of all the resources are used just for the dash cam. I did review the AI box by CarlinKit. That thing had 8 gigabytes of RAM. Granted, there was a little bit of a stutter, but it was never this bad. Like if it had the Snapdragon 888, the 8 Gen 1, I would gladly pay an extra $100 more just for better hardware because like this concept is very unique and I really like it. As it stands right now, I would just avoid this product. If you're looking for a device just for wireless CarPlay, pick up the 2 Air. Unfortunately, this product should be given a pass. So like always, it's V, stay classy.